Do you want to improve your English language skills? Welcome to our journey where we are going to explore the fascinating world of English language together. Today's topic is about understanding and using both active and passive voices in English. But why is it so important? Well, using both these voices effectively can add depth to your language skills, making your conversations, writings, and presentations much more engaging and nuanced. So what are these voices? In a nutshell, the active voice is when the subject of the sentence performs the action, while in the passive voice, the subject is acted upon. But don't worry, it's not as complicated as it may sound. We are going to walk you through 50 practical examples, transforming sentences from active to passive voice and vice versa. This will help you grasp the concept in a fun, easy, and interactive way. Are you ready to dive into some practical examples? Let's get started. Scene script. Let's start with some sentences in the active voice. Our first sentence is, "The chef prepares a delicious meal." In the passive voice, this becomes, "A delicious meal is prepared by the chef." Notice how the focus shifts from the chef to the meal. Next we have, "The team completed the project ahead of schedule." When transformed into the passive voice, it reads, "The project was completed ahead of schedule by the team." The emphasis now falls on the project's completion rather than the team's accomplishment. Our third example is, "The teacher explains the lesson to the students." In the passive form, it becomes, "The lesson is explained to the students by the teacher." Here, the lesson becomes the main focal point. Moving on, "They will announce the winner tomorrow" becomes, "The winner will be announced tomorrow." The spotlight is now on the anticipation of the winner's announcement. Next, "The company has launched a new product" turns into, "A new product has been launched by the company." The new product takes center stage in the passive sentence. Our sixth sentence is, "The gardener is planting beautiful flowers in the garden." In its passive form, it reads, "Beautiful flowers are being planted in the garden by the gardener." The beautiful flowers now take the limelight. Then "The police arrested the suspect" becomes, "The suspect was arrested by the police." The suspect's arrest is now the focus rather than the police's action. And finally, "My friend recommended this book to me" turns into, "This book was recommended to me by my friend." The book recommendation becomes the main point of interest in the passive sentence. See how the focus of the sentence changes when we use the passive voice? Scene script. Let's continue with more examples. Next up, "The company awarded her a promotion." In the passive voice, it becomes, "She was awarded a promotion by the company." Notice how the subject, the company, becomes she, and the object, her, becomes the company. Then we have, "The manager assigned the tasks to the team members." This transforms into, "The tasks were assigned to the team members by the manager." Here, the subject, the manager, and the object, the tasks, swap places to give us our passive voice sentence. Looking at the next example, "The students asked the teacher many questions." In the passive voice, it reads, "The teacher was asked many questions by the students." The subject and object have switched positions, but the meaning remains the same. Let's move on to, "The concert organizers have sold all the tickets." When we use the passive voice, it changes to, "All the tickets have been sold by the concert organizers." Note the use of have been to maintain the tense while changing the sentence structure. Next we have, "The company offered him a job." The passive voice version is, "He was offered a job by the company." Again, the subject and object swap places, but the essence of the sentence is unchanged. Our next example is, "The janitor cleans the office every evening." In the passive voice, it becomes, "The office is cleaned every evening by the janitor." Notice how the subject, the janitor, and the object, the office, switch positions. Finally, we have, "The doctor prescribed a new medication." The passive voice version is, "A new medication was prescribed by the doctor." The subject, the doctor, and the object, a new medication, switch places, and the sentence still carries the same meaning. The passive voice often adds a sense of formality to our sentences. Still with us? Here are more examples. Let's dive right in. Picture this. "The company offered her a lucrative contract." In this active sentence, the company is the subject, actively offering the contract. But if we switch to the passive voice, we get, "A lucrative contract was offered to her by the company." Now the contract becomes the subject, and the emphasis shifts from who to what. Next up, the volunteers are organizing a charity event. The volunteers are the ones taking action in this scenario, but in its passive counterpart, a charity event is being organized by the volunteers. The charity event is the focus. Moving on, the company provides excellent customer service. Here, the company is the subject doing the action, but when we say excellent customer service is provided by the company, the focus shifts to the customer service, not the company providing it. Another example. The mechanic fixed my car yesterday. The mechanic is the one doing the fixing. But if we say, my car was fixed by the mechanic yesterday, the car takes center stage, not the mechanic. The committee will review the proposal next week is another active sentence where the committee is the subject, but in its passive form, the proposal will be reviewed by the committee next week. The proposal becomes the focus. Consider the sentence, the artist painted a stunning landscape. The artist is the subject doing the painting. In its passive voice, a stunning landscape was painted by the artist. The landscape becomes the main focus. The company awarded her a promotion. Here the company is the subject. But when we say she was awarded a promotion by the company, the emphasis shifts to the promotion, not the company. Lastly, the manager assigned the tasks to the team members. The manager is the subject assigning the tasks. In its passive form, the tasks were assigned to the team members by the manager. The tasks become the focus, not the manager. Remember, the passive voice is not about who did it, but what happened. Scene script. Let's wrap up with the final set of sentences. We're on the home stretch, folks. Let's kick off with sentence 25. The company is launching a new advertising campaign. When flipped to the passive voice, it becomes a new advertising campaign is being launched by the company. Moving right along to sentence 26. The programmer wrote the code for the software. In the passive voice, this becomes the code for the software was written by the programmer. Next up, sentence 27. The government will announce the policy changes soon. In passive voice, we would say, the policy changes will be announced soon by the government. Let's dive into sentence 28. The singer performed a beautiful song. When we switch this to passive voice, it reads, a beautiful song was performed by the singer. Now let's tackle sentence 29. The committee made a decision yesterday. In passive voice, this sentence becomes, a decision was made by the committee yesterday. Moving forward to sentence 30. The chef is cooking a special dish for the guests. When transformed into passive voice, it reads, a special dish is being cooked for the guests by the chef. Almost there with sentence 31. The coach trains the athletes every day. In the passive voice, we get, the athletes are trained every day by the coach. And finally, we've reached sentence 32. The company offered her a lucrative contract. In passive voice, it becomes, a lucrative contract was offered to her by the company. And there we have it, 32 sentences transformed from active to passive voice. Well, we've covered quite a bit today. We embarked on a journey exploring the fascinating world of active and passive voice. We've traversed through a wide array of sentences, from the chef preparing a delicious meal to the architect designing the new building. Each sentence has been a stepping stone, helping us understand how the active voice focuses on the doer of the action, while passive voice emphasizes the action itself. We've seen how the gardener plants beautiful flowers and how these flowers are being planted by the gardener, depending on the emphasis we want to place. We've dived into the world of companies launching products, committees making decisions, and singers performing beautiful songs, all in the quest to understand the subtle nuances of English language. These 50 sentences, a mere drop in the ocean of English language, have equipped us with a better understanding of active and passive voice. Keep practicing and you'll master the use of active and passive voice in no time. Until next time, keep learning.